Now, before we dive into all the things that I absolutely hate about Apex Legends, let me just say this. I understand why people enjoy the game, okay? There are some satisfying aspects of this game, like, for one, the movement. Running around, sliding, jumping, that stuff is fun. Cracking shields, wiping enemy teams, being the last alive, the champion squad, you know, all that is enjoyable, right? I understand that. So I am well aware that there is fun to be had in this game. I understand that. But along with that fun comes a bunch of extremely annoying aspects of the game. And before I run through all the extremely irritating things in this game, let me just say this. When I complain about RNG in a battle royale or third partying, you know, sometimes I get the response, well, that's just battle royale for you. Listen, first off, I'm not complaining about those things because I'm not aware that that's how battle royales are. No, I'm well aware that's how battle royales are. I'm complaining about it because I think it's extremely fucking frustrating, okay? I'm not complaining about these things as if I just didn't know that there's a ton of RNG and third partying in battle royale games. No. And also, just because it's a battle royale doesn't mean there aren't ways to reduce the impact RNG has on the outcome of the game. In Apex Legends, there is a ton of RNG, and you just can't deny this. There's so much. There's RNG with the ground loot on the map. There's RNG with how the zone shrinks. And yes, I understand that the zone is very predictable, but you don't always know exactly where the next zone is going to be. So there are some situations where the zone moves and your house is not in the next zone, but that other team's house is in the next zone, and they have that shit barricaded with Watson fences and caustic traps. So it puts you in a unfavorable position by how the zone moved, which is not 100% completely predictable. Sometimes you just get fucked with how the zone moves, and I understand that is the case in a lot of battle royales, and I think that is extremely annoying. And I'm not sure if there even is a better system for how the zone shrinks that could be implemented into a battle royale game. I don't know. I'm just pointing it out that part of the game is very frustrating. Sometimes the zone moves and it puts you in an unfavorable position, and then you die. And that is extremely frustrating. Now, I don't say you always die. I'm not saying there's nothing you can do when you're put in that unfavorable position, but I just don't like getting put at a disadvantage because of RNG. Now, another RNG aspect of Apex Legends is the ground loot, right? And that is ground loot is RNG in every battle royale game, to my knowledge. So I understand that that is part of a battle royale. I get that, but that doesn't mean it's not frustrating at times. So because the loot is RNG, that means that some players will find better weapons, better armor, better helmets than you, just based off of RNG. Not because they did anything right. It's just RNG. They opened the right burrito that had the good shit, and you opened one with nothing. Like, it's just RNG. So there have been times where me and my team were flying in at the beginning of the game. We'll land at an area, and sometimes we intentionally land with other teams. Other times those teams land with us, and sometimes we think we're landing alone, but for some reason the other teams flying in just don't load in till we get to the ground. So yeah. But anyways, so sometimes we're fighting teams, you know, right off the rip at the beginning of the game. And there have been plenty of times where the crates that I open, the rooms that I go in, don't have shit. Can't find a gun. The enemy team, they walk in a room, blue armors, purple armor, plenty of weapons. and they have the advantage just because of RNG. Or, I'll open a crate, no weapon in it. They open a crate, purple armor, and a weapon. Or sometimes I will find a weapon, but they get the better weapon. That's all RNG. I'm not saying you're down and out because the other team has the advantage. I'm not saying there's nothing you can do. I just think it's so fucking... I don't know why more people don't find it so frustrating getting put at a disadvantage because of RNG. Like, that is so fucking irritating, and it doesn't seem like that bothers many people. And maybe Halo has ruined me, right? Because I've played so much Halo, and Halo is one of the most, if not the most, balanced, fair, even starts, specific weapons at specific spots on the maps. Like, it is such a balanced and fair game. And the RNG in Halo is minimal. Now, sometimes in Apex Legends, the RNG does go in our favor early game, and we kill the enemy team that landed with us, right? But then another team shows up right after. And then maybe we fight them off. We kill the second team. And then a third team shows up, and we've depleted our ammo, don't have heals, we're still weak from the last fight. And they wipe us. They kill us. Yeah, getting third-partied and fourth-partied and fifth-partied in this game is absolutely ridiculous. And that's another RNG aspect of the game. You can't always know where people are, okay? Sometimes teams are just going to show up or Valk ult onto you, and you can't do anything about it. So don't act like you can always avoid getting third-partied. Again, I understand there's things you can do. Listen, I've had the games where we land in the right spot, we get the good loot, we make the good rotations, we fight, we take smart fights, we avoid certain fights, we rat when we should rat, we move when we should move, and we win the game, right? I've had those games, right? We play smart, we do all the right things, and we win, right? But that doesn't mean there's not an element of RNG to it, all right? A lot of the games I win, the first thing I think to myself is, that's cool, but if this were to have happened, we wouldn't have won. Like, if those two teams just flew at us and just shot us, like, we lose. If the zone moved this way, we lose. You know, a lot of some of the reason we win these games is because the RNG and the zone is in our favor. And I acknowledge that. You know, if I win a game and I think RNG played a big part in it, like, I recognize that. But I don't think everyone does, right? I think that's another reason people enjoy this game, because sometimes RNG is on their side, and because RNG is on their side, they find success, they win the game, and they think they played so well, but in reality it was just a lot of it had to do with RNG. You know what I mean? So that's a reason I think many people enjoy this game, because sometimes the RNG is in their favor and they find success because of that. Not because they're the better team or they're making the better plays or they're absolutely cracked out of their mind. No, just because of the RNG. The RNG put them in a favorable position, and that's why they found success. And again, I'm not saying that it's all RNG. I'm not saying that there's no skill involved in this game at all. That would be foolish. I'm not saying that. Obviously, there's people that are consistently good at the game, so it does take skill. But you can't deny how much RNG is in this game. You could argue the impact that the RNG has on the outcome of the game, and, you know, that depends, because some games, the RNG had a huge influence on why you lost or why you won. Other games, it didn't have much impact at all. There are care packages that fall down from the sky onto the map, and yeah, it'll show you ahead of time where the care package is going to land, but sometimes there is already a team over there, and you can't push it. Either, I mean, there might be one team there, or maybe there's multiple teams in the area, so you can't push that care package. But it falls right beside another team, and they get a Kraber, and they pop off. Like, it just gave them that for free. Not because they did anything right, they just picked a spot to stay at, and that just so happened to be the spot that the care package dropped and they got a free Kraber. I cannot stand that. Again, not saying there's nothing you can do to outplay them, but they were given an advantage for free based off of RNG. Like, what? Now, another thing that I absolutely hate about many different Battle Royale games, and this is something that I hate it with every fiber of my being. This drives me insane. And that is the ability to sit outside of the zone in the storm for a long period of time. And this is actually, worse in a game like Apex Legends than many other Battle Royales, because in Apex you got things like heat shields, which allows you to sit in the storm even longer. I can't stand it. I can't stand that you can sit in the storm for that long. I can't stand players running into the storm and fighting in the storm. And when you're in a battle in the storm, it's just so awkward because your screen's all orange. You got the return to battlefield or return to the zone warning on the screen. Your screen is twitching or whatever. And then when you're in a heat shield, it's even harder to see. And it just, it makes for some really awkward engagements. But, sometimes you have to take those fights in the storm if you are in the storm and you find another team and, you get caught just fighting in the storm, and it's just a really awkward fight. And here's the reason I don't like this. What is the purpose of a zone in a Battle Royale? Well, I'd say the purpose is to funnel players together, or else the matches would just go on forever. I think that's the purpose of the zone. And I feel like that is the only purpose it should serve, to push players together. I don't think it should be this additional element of the game where you can strategically run into the zone, or you can sit in the zone with your heat shields and do whatever you're doing. I think it should just be there. The zone closing should only serve the purpose of funneling players together so the matches don't go on forever. If I had it my way, I would want players to die in 3 seconds if they are out of zone. Right? You can be out of zone for 3 seconds. 3 seconds, and then you die. Yeah, I almost want to say that, the second you touch the zone, you touch the storm, you just drop dead. But that would be kind of stupid, because if you're playing on the edge of zone and you accidentally touch it and you just die, that would be really lame. So 3 seconds. You get 3 seconds to run into the storm, and that's it. But you should always be able to move fast enough, or the zone should close slow enough so you could always outrun it. Right? It shouldn't be difficult to outrun it if it's gonna kill you in 3 seconds. So yeah, that's how I feel about the out of zone area in pretty much every Battle Royale. I don't like that you can sit outside the zone for a long period of time. I think it should just be there to push players together, and that's it. There's times where I've been in a game and we're close to the edge of zone. And, players will run out of the zone behind us and catch us off guard. Like, I'm sorry, but I shouldn't have to turn around and stare out of zone. Like, that is just so fucking weird to me. I don't like it at all. If a player is outside the zone for 3 seconds, I think they should die. And again, they should always be able to outrun the zone. I think that would be a lot better than how we see the out of zone area handled in a lot of Battle Royale games. Okay, so that's enough about the gameplay. This game undeniably has a ton of RNG, and sometimes that you can lessen, you can do things to lessen the impact that RNG has on the outcome of the game, but there's just some situations where you're put in an unfavorable position because of RNG, and there's not a whole lot you can do. And because it's RNG, those unfavorable positions might happen to some people more than others, because it's random. Like, just because you only get third-partied once in a while, let's say you get third-partied 1 out of every 5 games, right? Well, that doesn't mean it's 1 out of every 5 games for everybody. Some people might just get third-partied every game. And again, you can't always avoid it. There's some, if teams just want to fly at you, like run right at you or Valk out on you, you can't do a whole lot about that, okay? With this game, some people just act like there's always something you could do. Like, if I showed somebody my gameplay, right, they would critique the hell out of it, right? They would be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have pushed that. Oh, you should have ran here. You should have rotated this way. You should have Valk alted over there. And all that shit's just hindsight. That's all just fucking hindsight. Like, show me anyone's gameplay, right? I can critique it too. I could be like, oh, you died there. You shouldn't have taken that fight. You should have ran over here. So, you know, get out of here with that. But I'm not denying that there is a skill gap in this game, but you can't deny how much RNG is involved as well. And one more thing I want to say about third partying, my experience with that has been absolutely ridiculous. The amount of times we've been third partied and how we've been third partied. A lot of the time, me and my team, we land at the mill on Storm Point, I think is the name of the map. And there's 2 big buildings there, right? And there was a time where we landed at the lower building and 2 teams landed at the higher building, and they both ran down to our building and began fighting where we were. So then we were sandwiched. They didn't fight at the top building. They both ran down to our building without firing a shot and then began the fight where we were. Like, ridiculous things happen like that. I mean, there's times where, like, sometimes it seems like 2 squads are standing next to each other firing on us and just ignoring. You know how many times fucking multiple squads just ignore each other? They have line of sight, but they ignore each other and just shoot us. Like, there's nothing you could do about that. Like, they're unintentionally teaming up. Those teams very well could have just shot each other, but they all just chose to focus us. Not because we were, like, out in the open or in, like, an obvious position. No, they just chose to fight us. I mean, and there's nothing you can do when, you know, multiple teams just fly at you and focus you. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. I'm not saying there's nothing you can do, but you're just, you know, put at a disadvantage because that's just the situation you found yourself in. And again, do not act like those situations are always unavoidable. But anyways, that's enough about the gameplay. The last thing I want to talk about is the ranking system. And more specifically, the new ranking system, because they made changes to the Apex Legends ranking system with this new season, Season 13. So in the last season, Season 12, getting a kill early on in the game was worth more KP than it is now in Season 13. So now, when you get kills early on, and you could kill 1, 2, 3, 4 teams or more, and still have negative RP. Like, it doesn't gain you much KP at all for getting those kills early in the game. Now, I don't know exactly what their logic was behind that decision to make kills worth less KP early in the game, but, you know, I thought that it might be because, you know, early in a match, that's when RNG has arguably, like, the most influence in the game, right? You land, your team might get the armor and the weapons, and there's players on the enemy team that can't find a weapon, and you get, you know, easy kills because of RNG. So I thought because of that, that's why those kills aren't worth a lot early on, because, you know, some of those kills just come for free just because they couldn't find weapons or you found better armor. I'm not sure if that is their reason for changing things the way they did, but, you know, that would make sense to me. But if that were the case, right, like, you don't earn a lot of KP for early kills, well then, why am I still losing the same amount of RP if I die early on, right? Like, where I'm at right now, I think it's like, I go in at, I think the entry cost is like negative 37 or something like that, I don't know. So I could get like 4 or 5, 6, I don't know how many kills, and if I die, I still go like negative 30. because the kill points aren't worth a lot early on. So if the kills aren't going to be worth a lot of KP early on, then why am I still losing a ton of RP from dying early on? Like, I don't fucking get it. In Season 12, if I got a bunch of kills and, died early on, well, at least I got a bunch of KP for those kills. So I wouldn't lose as much RP for that match. But with Season 13, it's like you don't get rewarded for those kills at all early on. Those kills will be worth more later in the game. Like if you get a couple kills off the rip, those kills will be worth more KP if you make it to the end of the game. But still, I think I prefer the old system where, if I die early on but I get a couple kills, well, at least those kills saved me some RP. In this season, it doesn't save you much at all. You still just go like -30 or whatever your entry cost is, because those kills don't mean a whole lot unless you make it to the end of the game or further in the game. So I'm not a fan of that at all. And another reason I'm not a fan of that is because some of the games I've won or have gotten second or third are just games where either, one person on my squad will be alive and they will just rat their way to the end of the game. And most of the time when we do that, we actually make it to the end. We get third or second. Like it works. We go positive RP just from ratting. And from my experience, that has been pretty fucking easy to do. Just rat around. But something that is not as easy to do is, wiping 3 squads at the very beginning of the game where you're limited on ammo, you don't have any good weapons, you're limited on heals, but you still manage to wipe 3 squads early on. Yeah, if I die by the 4th squad, I'm going like -30. Like, that took a lot more effort than ratting to the end game when I was solo, but yet I'm going -30 for wiping 3 squads or whatever. But if I just rat to the end, I go positive. Like, something about that just doesn't add up. So yeah, I think I prefer the old system where those kills were worth more KP at the beginning of the game. Like, you should definitely be rewarded for getting those kills, especially early game when you have limited items. And again, I understand that those kills you got early on in this season will be worth more late game, but you don't always make it to late game. And so if you do get a bunch of kills early on and then die, it doesn't help you a whole lot. And I think it should. I think you should be rewarded for that. And the other thing pertaining to the ranking system that I think is extremely dumb and was introduced with this new season is the tier demotion penalty. I think this demotion penalty might scale as you rank up. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, when you get demoted from one tier to another, so like if you go from gold back down to silver, yeah, you get a neg 300 RP penalty. And I think that penalty increases in the later ranks. Okay, so how does that make sense? Explain that to me. So is it not bad enough that you went on a losing streak and ranked out of gold back to silver? Is that not bad enough? They also have to hit you with a neg 300 RP on top of that? Like, you might as well just ban me from the game for an hour as well, right? Just to really rub salt in the wound. So yeah, that tier demotion penalty doesn't make any fucking sense to me at all. Yeah, I understand that you have demotion protection. I think you get like 3 of them or whatever, like right before you're about to rank down to a previous tier. But that still doesn't justify a demotion penalty. I can't think of any way to justify that. That is just like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Now, when you rank up into a new tier, you will receive a 100 RP rank up bonus or something like that. But that's only 100 RP. The demotion penalty is like 300 or 400 RP. So that just doesn't add up. But anyways, I think we're going to end it there. I think I've touched on everything I wanted to cover. Again, I've said it multiple times in this video. Apex Legends does take skill, but there is a lot of RNG. And that RNG is extremely fucking frustrating. And I don't know how more people don't find it frustrating, but yeah, there's a lot of it. I'm not, again, you can work around the RNG, right? There are things you can do to put yourself in a favorable position, but sometimes the RNG just fucks you. Sometimes you are put in situations where you just can't do anything. And for some people, those situations occur a lot because it's RNG. So it's random. It's random. And if you want to say, hey, oh, I guess battle royales just aren't for you, bro. Well, listen, like, first off, I never said they were for me. I do play Apex. I have been playing it recently because, again, I said there are fun aspects within the game. There are some enjoyable aspects of it, all right? But there's also a ton of RNG. And again, just because it's a battle royale doesn't mean you can't reduce the RNG. You know, Warzone Season 1, because that's when I played Warzone, that game fixed a lot of problems that I had with battle royales. First off, there's no backpacks, right? There's no backpacks. I didn't have to loot for a backpack so that I could continue looting. I didn't have to run over a ton of items that I couldn't pick up because I didn't have a backpack. And then I find the backpack and then I have to go back to pick them all up. No, you didn't have that problem in Warzone. Honestly, in Warzone, again, this is Season 1 Warzone, you just got a couple bucks and then you bought your loadout and you were good. Also, there wasn't tiered armor in Warzone. So basically, everybody just had 3 armor plates. That's all you had, 3 armor plates. So it's not like, one team found tier 3 armor, but you were stuck with level 1 armor just because of RNG. Their house just so happened to have the tier 3 armor and helmet, and yours didn't. So now they're put at a significant advantage just because of RNG. You didn't have that in Warzone. Also with Warzone, you dropped in with a weapon, a pistol. So you didn't have to worry about the problem where your house didn't have a gun. You couldn't find a gun, but the enemy player, they did get a gun. Like, you didn't have to worry about that because you dropped in with a pistol. Yeah, and some other things as well. Warzone solved a lot of those problems. It reduced a lot of the RNG. But Apex Legends, I mean, this is one of the most, RNG games I've ever fucking played, if not the most. But anyways, we're going to end it there. Just wanted to get that off my chest, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.